That day I confronted Violet, my wife, with divorce papers. She was terribly shocked, but I didn't listen to her excuses. No, I didn't need to listen to her excuses. She had been seeing another guy whom I didn't know without my knowledge. And she had been texting him, calling him, and even giving him gifts. There was no reason for me to listen to her excuses. I just couldn't forgive Violet for cheating on me. Please get out. I kicked her out of the house without listening to her. And after the divorce was finalized, I worked like a madman. I occupied my head with work as if I were attempting to eliminate Violet's recollections. I didn't care about my personal life. I just kept working without a break. I don't remember much about that day. I thought my head felt kind of dizzy. Then, just when I thought I lost consciousness, I awoke in the hospital. I apparently pushed myself too hard despite being exhausted and nearly collapsing from overwork. And then I was in a car accident. I sat up in the bed and laughed weakly. I'd been working non-stop since my divorce was finalized, but I hadn't gained anything. I wondered what time it was. The nurse told me that I had been in bed for 3 days. My schedule book for work was filled with appointments. I had to rearrange my schedule from scratch. Then I heard someone's presence behind the curtain surrounding the bed I was sitting on. I wondered if it was a nurse or a doctor. I was just about to say that I wanted to get out of the hospital as soon as possible when...
Can I come in?
I felt a jolt throughout my body as if I'd been hit by an electric shock. It was because I heard the voice of my ex-wife Violet, whom I had lost touch with after our divorce. She was obviously wondering whether to come in or leave behind the curtains.
What are you doing here?
I yelled at the person behind the curtain in such a low tone that even I felt it was frigid.
I heard you were in an accident. I still had my keys to the house, so I brought a change of clothes and some towels and stuff.
Violet had cheated on me, so I served her with divorce papers. I believed our relationship was over, and I didn't understand why she was worried about me. I had no idea why she cheated on me in the first place. Well, maybe it was because I was an uncaring man. But I did earn a living, and occasionally took on household responsibilities for her. Looking back, I didn't know what the problem was. I was lost in thought, but I felt sorry for her, so I told her.
You can come in?
After a short pause, Violet entered. Her atmosphere, which was neither showy nor plain, had not changed at all, and it was something that I loved about her.
Oh, here's a towel.
Oh, thanks.
I couldn't look her in the eye and accepted the towel.
Let me know if you need anything else. I've got Kleenex and stuff in this paper bag.
Oh, okay.
All I could do was respond briefly. Violet had cheated on me, but she treated me so well that I felt uneasy. I never asked why my wife cheated on me.
Hey.
I called out to Violet, but she didn't seem to hear me and quickly left. I was bewildered, but there was nothing I could do about it. Now I needed to rearrange my work schedule. When I finished adjusting my work schedule, I asked the doctor for permission to go home.
You're working too hard. Please take care of yourself.
The male doctor told me so. I realized I had been pushing myself too hard. Come to think about it, he was correct. I worked so hard to forget about my Violet that I ended up in this mess. It was really pathetic. I went back to work. Anyway, I had a lot of work to do. There was no time to play. I was working at my desk at the office when I finally realized that it was time for my lunch break. Normally I would not even have time to eat, but today I was kind of hungry. So I ate out and went back to my desk at the office. Normally I would not have time to eat, but today I was kind of out of it and went to my desk at the office. I was thinking about which task to begin with. Then my phone rang. I quickly took out my phone, wondering if it was from my client. The phone number displayed on my ringing phone was Violet's. While I was wondering whether to answer it or not, the call went dead. I guessed it was nothing important. Our relationship was over. With that, I got back to work. By nightfall, work had calmed down and I was ready to go home. I called my coworkers who were working and decided to leave the office before them. I walked slowly because I was tired. Then I thought to myself, what do I get out of all this work? My phone rang again. I wondered who was calling. I pulled my phone out of the breast pocket of my shirt and saw it was Violet. I had no intention of answering it. I had no idea why she came to the hospital and was calling me. I had no idea what she was doing. I went home feeling uneasy because I didn't know what to anticipate. I was so preoccupied with work that I didn't have time to relax. Violet had left, so my house was in shambles. Tiredness was building up, tiredness that had not been dissipated. Alex? When I woke up, I was in the middle of my work, at my desk, in my office. I must have dozed off, which I rarely do. It was my junior colleague, with whom I often go out for a drink, who called out to me again. Are you alright?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Please take care of yourself, Alex. You work too much.
I know I'm fine.
Despite his concern, I continued to work. When I finally got home, I sat deeply on the sofa. I was exhausted. I'd been feeling sluggish recently. I was never like this before.
Am I getting old?
Sarcastically, I said to myself. I wondered if I'd work till I died. I lay down on the sofa, sat deeply, and promptly fell asleep. And the next time I woke up, I was in the hospital again. I got up on the bed. I tried to recall the last thing I did. I believed I was sitting on the couch. I hadn't even been in an accident. I was curious about what was going on. I was confused, but it was Violet who appeared before me.
You again? What are you doing here?
Hey, I want to tell you something.
What is it?
Do you remember my friend Ethan?
I shook my head, but quickly remembered. As I recall, Violet had several friends who were doctors. Violet was not a doctor, but I had met Ethan through her. He must have attended our wedding, but I felt horrible when I heard his name. I believed Violet was having an affair with Ethan.
Are you marrying Ethan?
I snorted in disgust, but Violet shook her head.
Ethan is studying neurological diseases. Hey, I want you to go see him for a checkup.
I sighed at Violet's selfishness.
Why do I need a checkup?
Listen, are you aware that
I'm busy. I have work to do.
but you're so important to me?
I was even angrier at Violet when she said that.
If I'm so important to you, why did you cheat on me?
It was a misunderstanding. I never cheated on you.
That's a lie. When I confronted you with the proof, you didn't say anything.
Violet pulled a folded white piece of paper out of her pocket.
Go to this hospital. I'm begging you. I've already spoken to Ethan.
What are you talking about?
I was puzzled by what she said suddenly. What was Violet trying to get me to do? But before I could ask her, she moved away from the bed where I was sitting. I felt something strange. Violet was hiding something, but I was starting to believe she had never cheated on me. I managed to finish my work and went to the hospital where Ethan worked.
Hello, it's been a while.
How have you been?
Ethan greeted me politely and offered me a chair.
My wife told me that,
Excuse me, but may I conduct a checkup on you?
a checkup?
Actually, you are suspected of having a disease called AMM syndrome.
What?
I was puzzled by the unfamiliar name of the disease.
It is a kind of neurological disease called AMM syndrome. Simply put, this disease causes the nerves in your body to go haywire.
And why is it happening to me?
Suddenly, Violet's face appeared in my mind.
Sudden memory loss and a symptom of the disease. Have you been feeling drowsy?
Yes.
I felt like I had made a terrible mistake. Could it be that Violet was aware of this illness and that's why she turned to Ethan for help? She wasn't cheating on me. She was worried about my body. So I took all the tests Ethan suggested. The result proved that Ethan was right.
I see you suffer from a typical AMM syndrome.
What's gonna happen to me now?
I asked, unable to hide my surprise at being suddenly confronted with the name of my disease. Ethan was calm.
Because the disease was detected early this time, we have a good chance of curing you with medication. There will be no negative consequences.
Was my wife aware of this?
Yes,
Ethan said firmly.
that's why she came to me, because I'm a neurologist. You suspected that we were having an affair, but your wife just came to me for advice. But my wife gave you a gift.
To be honest, I didn't accept it. But I guess she was trying to do that because she wanted to save your life. Your wife has done nothing wrong.
I burst into tears. She was worried about me, and I misunderstood her and kicked her out. I couldn't believe what I had done.
Your wife is waiting for you. Hearing Ethan's words, I vowed to go see my father. After learning the whole truth, I went home, thinking about what I would say to Violet.
When I got home, I found a pair of women's shoes. I ran to the living room, and Violet was there.
How did it go? Will the treatment be effective on you?
Violet was worried about me, even though I had kicked her out of the house. I felt ashamed of myself for having made so many selfish assumptions. I blamed myself for everything I had done to her when she was truly concerned about me.
I'm sorry.
My first words were an apology, and that's all I was thinking.
I'm sorry. I said so many terrible things to you.
Violet shook her head.
I'm sorry I didn't explain myself properly. I'm sorry for making you misunderstand.
We kept apologizing and crying. We just cried and cried with gratitude and apology. After that, I stopped losing consciousness. After a year of medication, Ethan told me I was cured. Violet and I got back together.
I won't lose you again.
I told Violet,
I'm not going to doubt you anymore. I guarantee I will never push you away or kick you out.
Okay,
I'll always be counting on you.
I understand.
my wife said this in tears and smiled at me. I smiled too. I felt as if I had finally gained or regained something significant. I promised myself I'd never let go of Violet's hand. And I promised her I'd never push her away.